Ladies and gentlemen, the man we welcome to the stage doesn't just speak because he wants to. He speaks because he was called to. Receiving life's messages is part of who he is, and spreading them is what he's meant to do. Without further ado, Wayne Looney.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here with me today. I want you to know from the bottom of my heart how much I truly appreciate you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say today. Today, I want to talk to you about a very, very important topic, and that topic is trust. I want to talk to you about how I determine if a person is being trustworthy and genuine, and how I can tell if they have underlying or unpure motives. The reason why this topic is so important is because today we live in a society where being genuine and being trustworthy can be faked. It can be faked. And I believe we as a people have some understanding of this. We see people fake being healthy. We see people fake being genuine. We see people fake be supportive on social media. So I contribute some of this fakeness to social media. But we also trust salesmen less. We trust advertising. We even trust food labels less. Why? Because we always know that there's something we're not being told. And unfortunately, this bleeds into a lot of our regular lives. Because we start to feel like people are always hiding something and people aren't trustworthy, we decide that we're going to close ourselves off to the world. We decide because everyone has something to hide, we are going to keep everyone we encounter at arm's length. We're never going to let them in. And people that live this way will tell you that it works for them. Because they never let people in, they never find themselves in positions to be hurt or deceived. But the problem with that approach is that when you don't let people in, not only do you keep the untrustworthy people out, you stop trustworthy people from getting in. And every single relationship you have is always shallow and on the surface level. And if you're always looking for untrustworthy traits in a person, you're bound to find them. If you always assume people are untrustworthy, people show up the way you expect them to. And if you expect a person to be untrustworthy, there's something that you're going to see that is going to tell you that they are untrustworthy. Now, on the flip side, we have people that are kind and genuine, loving and caring people. And because they are kind and genuine, they always choose to see the best in people. And sometimes when you are this way, you give people 100% of your trust that do not deserve it. And when you give a person 100% of your trust that does not deserve it, they see that as an opportunity to take advantage of you. I know that that's difficult to hear, and I hate to be the one to say it, but there are people like that in this life. There are people who are looking to take advantage of people who are kind and genuine. And so kind and loving, genuine people give their trust to people, and because there are people who are looking to take advantage, these type of people find themselves in positions where they are constantly being taken advantage of and hurt. And it's too bad. Now, most of us kind of take a middle route between the two. Instead of giving someone our trust blindly or completely selling ourselves off to the world, we give someone our trust in who we are in increments. When we first meet a person, we give them our trust sparingly. As they continue to prove they are who they appear to be, we continue to give them more and more of our trust and more of ourselves. And a lot of us can attest to the fact that this has helped us build a lot of long and lasting relationships. Now, here's the downside to that. If a person has unpure or underlying motives, if you give them who you are and if you give them your trust sparingly, you give that person time to adjust and to figure out a better way to hide their motives. And when you find yourself in a situation with a person who you have allowed time to hide their motives, sometimes you feel like they have been your friend for years until they finally do something that is outside of their character. But that's who they were the whole time. And because you gave them yourself and your trust sparingly, they were allowed time to fool you. And I know that's difficult to hear, and I hate to be the one to say it, but I've been in positions like this, and it's real life. Now, over time, I have learned a different way to determine how a person is being genuine and trustworthy right away. Now, this is not a trick. This is not something I read in the newest sales book or in the 48 Laws of Power. This is me staying true to who I am and how I find out who I want to be around. Now, sometimes you meet a person and right away you can tell that that person is untrustworthy. Maybe it's in something that they do or something that they say or the way that they appear, but subconsciously you pick up on the fact that you should not trust that person, and it comes to you as an overall feeling. When you receive this feeling, I'm going to tell you to trust that feeling. And if you receive that feeling upon your initial reactions or interactions with the person, to trust it. And remove yourself from that situation and do not pursue a relationship with that person. Now, sometimes a person is going to be untrustworthy and they are going to have underlying intentions, and you are not going to be able to tell this right away. Nothing about your initial interaction with that person are going to tell you not to trust them. And that's okay. Here is how I go about a situation like that. If I meet a person and nothing about them tells me not to trust them, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to start giving them 100% of who I am, and I'm going to start giving them my trust right away. And I know you're probably thinking, well, Wayne, doesn't that open you up and make you susceptible to being taken advantage of or being hurt? Well, hear me out. So by me giving this person 100% of my trust or 100% of who I am right away, I am letting that person know what my intentions are for that connection. And by doing that, I am laying my cards out on the table. I lay out my cards by opening up about who I am. I start telling a person things about myself, the things that are working for me in life, the things that aren't working for me in life, the things that I'm working on, some of my strengths and some of my weaknesses. And by doing this, I am laying out my cards. I am telling a person 100%, this is who I am. I have nothing to hide. And when you lay your cards out on the table, you put that person in a position to do the same. And if a person does not do the same, that's something to be mindful of. I need you to understand that. So when I lay out my cards, sometimes a person will reciprocate that right away. They lay out their cards too. We see that we have matching cards, and it's like an instant connection. And when this happens, that's awesome because you feel like you just met a long lost relative or friend, and that you guys have known each other for years, and your connection and your bond is strong right away. Other times I lay out my cards and a person is reluctant. They may not lay out their cards right away. And the reason for that is that they have been hurt and deceived in the past. And when a person has been hurt and deceived and they have given people 100% of their trust before and it has been broken, they will be reluctant when you start giving them trust and you start showing them who you are right away. But over time, as you continue to show them that you are being yourself and that you are being genuine, they will start to reciprocate that. They will start to open up more and more, and then you are going to have a long and a lasting relationship that will be 100% genuine. Now, sometimes I lay out my cards and a person does not do the same. And I take note of that. Because sometimes a person connects with us for other reasons than they just want to be in our presence and they just want to get to know us. Sometimes a person connects with us because their intentions are self-serving. People like this connect with us because they want to know what we know. They want to have what we have. They want to be a part of what we have going on. And I know a lot of famous people struggle with this, struggle with finding genuine connections because people always want to be part of what they have. I need you to understand that everyday people like you and I come across people like this as well, especially if you have something positive going on in your life. Now, let me paint a picture for you for how this looks. These people will try to gravitate to you. They will try to find ways to be in your presence. Even though you've only connected a few times, they are going to act like they are your best friend, and you're not going to understand why they're acting that way. That's because they intend to use your connection as a self-serving one, and they're hoping that by connecting with you, they are going to be able to propel themselves further in life. I know, I hate to say that, but there are people like that in this life. And then you have people who just want to undermine you. They just want to be there to make sure that you don't reach your full potential. And sometimes these are people that you call family member and friends. I know that's difficult to hear, but this is real life. These people are going to appear to care about you. They are going to appear to want success for you. But the minute you start stepping outside of the box or start stepping outside of how they want you to be, they are going to find a reason to undermine you. And this can be for a number of reasons. Sometimes you want to step out and leave a job or follow your dreams or go to school. And because they are afraid that your success will compromise who they see themselves to be or how successful they have been, they are going to try to stop you from doing that. I've witnessed this. I've seen this. Other times, a person has unpure and underlying motives, and we never understand why. But when we lay out our cards and they don't do the same, we see that they have something to hide. And our first reaction, more often than not, is when we see a person's underlying intentions or is lying to us, we initially want to go to them and tell them exactly what we saw. We want to tell them, I see that you are being fake to me. I see that you are lying. Or as the kids like to say, you want to put them on blast. I recognize the feeling. I felt it before. But I'm going to encourage you not to take that approach. And here's why. Because if you go to a person and tell them what you saw and that you know that they are being dishonest, understand that that is a waste of your time and energy, because there's nothing that you can say or do that is going to force a person who wants to be deceitful or untrustworthy to be trustworthy and genuine. There's nothing that you can say. So your energy and time is better spent removing yourself from that situation. And here's how you do that without being confrontational. I like to envision it as taking steps backwards. You stop going to places that person is present. You stop being the first one to reach out. You start making excuses for why you can't connect with that person. And over time, a person starts to be able to pick up on that. And they start to be able to see that you do not intend to stay connected with them. And when this happens, it allows you both to go your separate ways. Now, there's something that I need you to hear. And there's something that I need you to understand. There are people in this life, despite you laying out your intentions right away, despite you being 100% genuine to who you are and what you want, that there are people who are skilled enough to be able to hide their intentions until the very last moment. I know that that is scary to hear, but there are people like that in this life. I've come across a few. And when you come across a person like that, that's okay. And here's why. Because you are being 100% genuine all the time with everyone you encounter and being 100% true to yourself. and what your intentions are, when you come across a person like this, you have nothing to hide. There's nothing that they can do. There's nothing that they can take to use against you, because you're always 100% being yourself with everybody. So you lose nothing. You only gain wisdom and truth. So take that as a lesson to be learned and continue to be yourself. So that's my only message to you today. I want you to take a look at life. I want you to understand the type of people that you are going to come across. And I want you to decide that despite being hurt in the past, despite that people are getting better and better at being deceitful or untrustworthy or fake being genuine, I want you to decide that you are going to continue to always be 100% yourself and 100% genuine, and always be 100% honest with what your intentions are in this life. And by doing that, that is the quickest way for you to find out if a person is doing the same with you or is being the same way with you. Because some people deserve to be trusted and are trustworthy, and some don't. And by you being yourself, you put people in a position to show them who they truly are. So that's all I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening. These are things to contemplate. Until next time, Looney out.
Thank you.